Welcome back to Wake Up Epic. Today we're going to look at the energy, the theme, the possibility of style. In the 8th hexagram, the 8th gene key, we're looking at the themes of mediocrity, so the shadow of mediocrity, and the gift of style. And we'll look at this through the lens of embodiment, meaning you're going to get to practice this. In every Wake Up Epic, we want to create the ability to understand this from the inside out. It's one thing to read about something. It's one thing to hear someone's point of view. It's a completely different thing to find out for yourself what's your way. And that's the aim with Wake Up Epic. So the first thing I want to ask you to do is think about mediocrity, because there's going to be a lot of energy, and where we're more in touch with that energy than we are with the gift. But when it comes to mediocrity, what comes up for you? Bring a couple things to mind. This will also be really helpful because you'll get to work on it yourself. And whatever you need to do around it, to own it, to get clear on it, and to bring it into a transformational experience, this is the opportunity. So is it an area of your life like your body, fitness? Is it an area like career, marketing, leadership, speaking? Is it an area around relationship, partnership, love, trust? And is it a possibility, an area with relationship to yourself? Is there an area of your relationship to yourself that feels like it's not hitting your own standards? It's a bit mediocre. And as one of my mentors used to say, still does, what are you tolerating? So what mediocrity are you tolerating? Whatever awareness you have about it right now is perfect for today. And you can use what we do today to continue to work on this over the next few days. This will be a perfect time to commit to a little bit of a habit for the next few days to keep transforming where you're experiencing some mediocrity and some toleration, and see if you can start to tolerate your style, your unique style. When we look at the embodied story, we've got 3 lines at the top of the hexagram and 3 lines at the bottom. The three lines at the top are called the top trigram. And we've got a yin, yang, yin. So try this with me. We're going to shift back. That's the first yin. We shift up. That's the yang. And we shift narrow. That's the third line, the yin. So we've got this sense of back, up, in, narrow, which creates in UZAZU what we call pillar. And pillar is this attitude, this embodied state of I am doing it. I'm over here. I've got this motivation. I can feel. So it's very much a I can. So try saying I can as you rise up, feel a strong core, and bring your arms in front of you. Now, pillar is what it sounds like. Imagine you are a pillar, like at a Greek temple, or this pillar, and you're holding something up. And the act of holding up is also going to generate some force down. And if you're sitting, that's going to be sitting forces down through your pelvis into the chair. If you're standing, it's forces through your feet into the ground. Imagine you are holding something up. And get a sense for what motivates you to keep holding something up. Take a few breaths. Get a sense for your own style, your own inner unextinguishable motivation to hold things up. And then let that go. So now we've tapped into the essence of pillar. From pillar, which is our context, we're going to drop down into choice. So we go from a world of pillar, a world where, of course, you can hold things up. Of course, you can trust people to know their own motivation. Then we're going to drop into our own individual, unique, differentiated choice, which is yin, yin, yin in the case of our practice today. So we drop down yin. We step and shift back yin. And we come narrow yin, 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 yin. And this in UZAZU is called sponge. It's like a standing child pose. And sponge by itself is an opportunity to feel everything. What's it mean to feel everything? Well, what are you feeling? In the moment, you can notice what you're feeling that is physical, your chair, your feet, your skin and clothes. And we can expand what you're feeling or what you're noticing that you're feeling to emotions. Can you notice what emotions you're feeling? Mad, sad, glad, any of those? A little bit of all of them? So when we shift into sponge, we're consciously choosing, I'm going to feel. I am feeling. It's a great place to go when you have something to celebrate. It's a great place to go when you've got something you're leaving. I've just spent a few days on a road trip. There's a lot of things I've left. There were a lot of feelings to feel. And so anytime we come in a sponge, the opportunity is to feel emotions, physicality, and this really helps with presence. So then what is the story, the embodied story specifically, of the 8? Well, it's something like we start in pillar, which is to say there's this support of action, the support of self-motivation. And then I choose to drop into feeling. Let me hang out there a little bit. From having felt, we rise back up to that doing. Now, all of this, to make one more distinction, all of this is interested in the self. So where we might be very conditioned to go help people, to do things, to make something happen, to market, to write, to speak, to do all the things. Right now with the 8, both modes of this are self-focused, not other-focused. So this can be a bit of a stretch for our imagination to actually consider what's your motivation for doing, but we're not trying to figure anything out. So then what the heck is style? Consider, what is style? What's your unique style? In a world of just be you, what the heck does that even mean? And so here we have this opportunity to explore in this place of self agency that's deeply willing to feel, that then informs that self agency. And there's something in there for us about our own unique style. And it implies something about, why are you doing something in a mediocre way? And so what if anything you're doing that's occurring as mediocre, you're tolerating it, it's not hitting your own standards, there's some lack of authenticity in this case. Some sort of lack of, I'm aware of what I'm motivated by. I'm aware of what I'm feeling physically, emotionally, and beyond. And I'll bring that back into my sense of self-agency. So that's where we're going with the 8. And that seems to be the opportunity to explore, like, why are some things mediocre for me? And then how can we bring our style to whatever we're doing? Take a note if this play with mediocrity and style in the embodied story is bringing up anything specifically in your life. And if it was bringing up at least one thing in your life, like, hey, focus on this for a day or two, bring some of your style to this area, what would that be? Again, I asked it earlier, body, career, relationship, or self-relationship. So get a sense for that as we go into the four possibility statements. When we do these possibility statements, the idea is we're not just dropping in some random affirmation or some egoically driven thing we think we want to achieve. We're looking at what are some words that articulate the essence of this pillar and this sponge, so that we can create some coherence around our body and our body and our brain and our thinking, and the state we can experience, and then therefore the things we're doing in the world. So we're looking for matching, creating matches from your way of being to what you want to do. And with that, a lot of inspiration. As I say these, you get to say them for yourself. So I'll drop it in, you say it to yourself, you're on mute or you're watching this on replay. So feel free to say it with whatever level of intensity you like. Now you can't do this wrong. We're going to be going through pillar, sponge, and just going through those two movement patterns while dropping in these aligned affirmations or possibilities. While we do it, you might have some emotions, especially today, especially focused on this sponge. And so I invite you to have the courage to feel really, really, really good if that shows up, and things that don't feel that good if that tends to show up. Here we go. So all these are about trusting our impulses and our inner knowing. So start in pillar by shifting back, up, tightening and tensing your core just a bit. Get a sense that you are holding something valuable, and that you are the thing that's connecting earth and the heaven of this benefit. Drop down into sponge. Take a breath. There'll often be a bit of a click, like, okay, got it. I got the sponginess. I can hang out here for a while, or I can shift. That's what we're going to listen for, and then come back into pillar. Okay, first statement. I can feel and honor my own impulses and motivations. And at your own pace, move between pillar and sponge. I can feel and honor my own impulses and motivations. So the invitation is really stark right now to listen to your own inner impulses and motivations, and not to follow my lead here. And yet, in a way, we're all following this lead. The second statement. I can feel safe connecting with my own passions and urges. I can feel safe connecting with my own passions and urges. I mentioned earlier, you can't do these movement practices wrong. One thing to pay attention to is when you feel a bit of a glitch, a desire to slow down. And especially today, notice impulses, urges to slow down, speed up, to move, or to be still. Third statement, I can allow my feelings to inspire and motivate my actions. I can allow my feelings to inspire and motivate my actions. And the last statement to drop in, I can focus and prioritize on my inner drives. I can focus and prioritize my inner drives. Now let go of any mental concentration, and for the last minute, play with the movement just by itself, like the movement's got a mind of its own, letting the idea of style, to the degree that there's any idea here, letting style show up. What's your style just with the movement? The last bit, pay extra attention to any sense of message or lesson in this for you, so that you create a sense of you're integrating and completing this experience. You're bringing it back into your mind, into words, into images, so that you can take it with you when we're done. What's the lesson? What's the message? In the next few moments, find a finish in pillar. Finish in pillar. Let it go. Shift out of the practice. Come to a neutral place. Move your body around. Now consciously let go of that practice. Something I've been focusing on lately, and I want to make a point of this, is the idea that whoever you are is someone that steps into the kitchen and then leaves the kitchen. You step into the bathroom and then you leave the bathroom, and you step into qualities and mindsets and archetypes, and then we need to leave them. And I never really acknowledged how important it was to leave these archetypes. For years, it was like, how do I be more of a hero? How do I be more of that trickster? Just more. And I recently learned through Michael Meade how important it is when working mythologically, so to speak, to let go of these energies. And this is really important for the level of our roles, role of a husband, a son, a brother, a wife, a lover, and on and on and on. So consciously, let go of that practice, and here we are together to reflect. So see if there's something you'd like to share that is a bit of a reflection from what your experience was. And this serves two purposes. One is for you to be witnessed in something that you now know that before you kind of knew and now you know differently, or you know more. And the second purpose is to practice sharing it. So whether you were to speak, to teach, to bring your wisdom into the world in many ways, this is an opportunity to practice that piece of the integration puzzle. So I'll go first, and then you're all invited to share a bit. One is, I got a big strong flash of one of my teachers who often starts late. He starts his classes late. And I thought, wow, I really don't ever want that to be something. So I'm going to, moving forward, have sort of a green room. So an early, what's the word? I'll put it in the messaging, but I'll be online 5 minutes early, and then I'll actually be starting the class on the hour. So fun upgrade to my style. And that's it for me. Would anyone like to share?
I'll share something, Alex. I noticed that I really like the first one, and when we did the second one, even though I've been practicing for a while, following my own urges and what feels right for me in the moment, I almost skipped this class because I was like, oh, I feel guilty. I should be getting to work. I just did a call and it went a bit longer, but there's some actual work that I wanted to get done. So I almost skipped out of it, but I thought, well, I've made a commitment. I should, you sent me the link and everything. So I showed up. So with number 2, I could feel safe connecting with my own passion and urges. It reminded me that this is me connecting with my own passion and urges, that I wanted to be here. And yet I was having this other part, the should do part, the responsible part, wanting me to skip this and do that, instead of saying I should have taken, even though now I'm saying should again, and I probably should not say should. I could have, and perhaps I shall in the future, take time to reflect what feels right. So whether that is feeling that the urge is, yes, I should come to the class, or the urge is, no, I should say, I'm sorry, I won't be able to make it. So yeah, but I had my feet crossed since I'm sitting during the first one. But with the second one, when that came to my realization that I can feel safe, connect with my own passion and urges, I was inspired to uncross my feet in kind of oh, no, I'm choosing to be here, and this is right for me right now, and that's okay. So I thought that was really great realization.
Thank you. Thanks, Sam.
Yeah, what I'd love to add is, as well as giving myself permission to be here, and sorry for being late, by the way, the actual sense of, I felt like I was connecting my mind to my heart. I felt like it was giving me a different focus of internal focus, if that makes sense. And I loved that, because we've learned all different ways of focusing, but this was different. It felt like I'm supporting my focus. It was really great. I loved that.
Fantastic. Thanks, Anita.
I really appreciated the contained, concentrated opportunity to go back and forth, knowing the structure that there will be 4 rounds. It's very, very valuable. And in this particular one, it made especially a lot of sense for me. It highlighted that, I don't know what to call it, value, importance, impact of those 5 yin lines in this hexagram. And how that yin, that inward, is something that does require this kind of nurturing, containing. I've been walking around talking about the concept of defensible space. It's almost like for the yin to blossom, to unfurl, it needs to be in that contained space of being set apart from the other, because when being out there in the world, enmeshed, entangled, interacting, the yin cannot necessarily open up. It goes along with what is, right? It's other characteristic, because that inner is, like, I became aware of how that inner, how I guess small, tender, soft, that inner, whatever can emerge in that space, and how much this container was, and doing it with others. There's something magical about doing inward practice of disconnecting from the pool of the outside world with the others who are going through the same thing at the same time. So that was very magical. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexandra. I am struck, I think partly because with the yinness that you just named. Think about mediocrity, and I just noticed I have my own expectation that the opposite of mediocrity, or the thing to do when in the face of mediocrity, is to get perfect, to achieve, to get better, to raise the standards. And I'm just noticing, as I'm noticing this, I really rebel against that. I really don't like that approach. And here, what's arising when we face mediocrity is style, which is very different expectation than something like get it perfect, get it done, get it out the door, or whatever it is. And then the city, the higher state here is exquisiteness. So yeah, if it hasn't really landed for any, to the degree that it hasn't landed yet, I just want to invite and celebrate this possibility that wherever we're experiencing mediocrity in our life, which I was highly experiencing mediocrity at the beginning of this class, as a speaker, I was feeling almost disembodied in a weird way, which is unusual for me as a speaker or facilitator. And so I was very much touching that mediocrity, or my judgment of it. And then it's like, wow, can't fix this, can't fake it, can't do it. I just have to let my style come through, and that has to be okay. And then somewhere in there is the opportunity to keep trusting that and to allow exquisiteness to blossom, in contrast with something like perfection. So something that more to reflect. And the last thing here is from one of the pages I'm looking at from Gene Keys, the idea is diamond of the self. So I'm going to leave that with you. But there's something about playing with this, giving yourself permission to move away from the world, to touch in on your inner motivations and bring feelings into it, that gives rise to the diamond of the self. And that just seems like a very beautiful way to end our class for today. So thanks for participating in Wake Up Epic, and I'll see you all in the next experience.